Hey friends, welcome back to another video. Thank you so much for being here with me. Today we're going to be doing a chatty plan with me where I'm going to be setting up the layout for the week for my work planner and also my personal health planner. So let's jump right into it. So I think I'm going to start with my work journal because that's going to be the fastest. So I've been toying around with different ideas of how to do the work journal setup because I work as a virtual assistant, and so I have different clients that I work with, and I also am now doing the YouTube channel and the Instagram, which that'll be linked below if you guys want to follow me on there. And so there's a lot of things to tackle, and work for each of the clients is a bit different, and so I've had issues finding a way that works with the a work planner. And I'll show you some examples of what that looked like before in my Hobonichi, because the one that I'm using as a health planner, I have tried doing a hybrid of like daily health planning and also work planning, and ultimately it didn't really work. So I originally bought these inserts. These are the undated weekly with memo for the traveler's notebook system. So I had originally bought these because I was going to use them to backdate my 2022 or backlog my 2022 media journal. But I was looking at them and I was thinking about how I have been kind of using my work journal. So let me actually, before I continue, let me show you what that looks like in here. Let me get my Hobonichi and kind of give you an example. And I'm gonna probably have to blur something out here because of confidentiality, but essentially, let's see what I can show you here. So essentially what I was doing, and let me zoom this in so that's a little easier to see. Okay, so essentially what I was doing before was that I was using this side for kind of health related things, kind of like tracking things that happened in the day, what I ate, and some other miscellaneous thing. I was using a habit tracker and tracking my sleep schedule, and then doing like a running to-do list. This was one of the most successful setups, but I had also, see, this one was a similar setup, but I didn't do sleep, and I was just working off of a running to-do list. And running to-do lists is something that I saw, what creator was it that I saw doing a running to-do list? I know that I saw Megan Rhiannon do it, and I think before them though, I saw Untitled Paintings, I think, mentioned, which I think that they were inspired by Megan Rhiannon as well, on the running to-do list. And I also saw, I think Lined Musings also had a running to-do list, and so I started implementing that, and I really like that system, but it wasn't working for me to have them both together. And sadly, the Hobonichi just doesn't have enough space for me to essentially do it the way that I was wanting to. So I decided that I was gonna try out the Traveler's Notebook insert and see how I liked it, and I was just gonna do it for work. And I did that last week, and it worked really, really well. And I can't really show it because of confidentiality, but you'll see me set that up this time around. So I have some notes here that I posted because I didn't want to forget for last week. So let me go ahead and see. I had I put a post-it note to, depending on how it went, because one thing that I am lacking now that I separated the work and the personal tracker is kind of having like a running to-do list for personal, like house things, right? Like cleaning related things. So I had an idea that if I didn't fill up the running to-do list for work stuff, then I can go ahead, because I don't, let me finish the sentence before I start another one. That is my major issue with doing, like talking as I'm planning, because it's very difficult for me to finish a sentence as I'm talking conversationally. But anyways, so I don't usually do client-related work on the weekends unless there's like an emergency or I didn't get to something during the week. So I tend to do more like personal-related things or things related to my businesses on the weekends. So I kind of had like a separation, and I figured that I could do a separating line as well for like personal to-dos. So I will be doing that. Let's move this over here. And these little things had been out of stock for so long on jet pens. I was so happy to see that they came back, and I bought like 3 packs, which was probably overkill, but alas, it is what I did. Okay, so let's number this. So we are now in November. Can you guys believe that we're already in November? It's crazy, week 45. And then that's November 2023. So I love the Hobonichi, but sadly, let's number the days. So we start on the 6th. Sadly, it's just not big enough for what I had envisioned for, at least for work. So I really am basically just doing a hybrid system of Hobonichi and Traveler's Company. Also, I kind of love that Traveler's Notebooks has this like little tabs here for the middle. Like that is so 100% perfect for me because, like I mentioned, I have things that I do for my businesses and things that I do for my clients, right? And so I like separating those things. And then there's one client that I do a lot of work for. So I'll usually end up using the running to-do list for the things that I have to do for that client. Right, and then kind of like more repetitive things and deadlines and whatever, I put them on here. So this has been really great. I loved how it worked for me last week. Before I even went into the Hobonichi weeks, I had been using the 𝚑𝚊𝚗𝚗𝚗𝚘, which I think I can show you. And the way that it's evolved since I think I started this whole journey of buying my own planners and getting back into the planning community. Maybe in August. Yeah, it would have been August because in August is when I did my first spread on my media journal. Okay, I'll just show you a blank one. So basically what I had been doing in the 𝚑𝚑𝚗𝚗𝚗𝚗 was I was listing my tasks here and kind of like a running to-do list form, but then if I didn't finish it one day, I would transfer it over to the next. So there was a lot of transferring over. And then what I was using this side for was for additional notes or anything like that. But like I said, I tend to get a lot of notes and like tasks that I need to do. And because I work with like creating a lot of documentation and estimates and all that for this particular client. And so I end up needing more space for notes than I can just get on here. And the fact that I just needed to repeat over and over tasks that were transferring from one day to the next, it just really worked out better to have a running to-do list that was a weekly setup. And so I did do that, right? I did experiment with that. Let me see here if I can find the page. I did experiment with doing a running to-do list on one of the pages. I feel like there's too much I would need to black out for this. So let me just again show you a blank page. So what I had done was I would list out all the days in the week up here, and then I would do the running to-do list here, and then just use this page as notes. But again, that wasn't really ideal, and I was doing that because I don't want to waste the pages on here, and I've kind of been using this to experiment. But I wouldn't purchase an 𝚑𝚑𝚗𝚗𝚗𝚗𝚑𝚗𝚗 or a cousin again to do that, right? That's not really the best use of this type of format. So I'm really happy that I found this system, because it's been, I mean, it's only been a week, right? But even in that week, it felt good. So let me go ahead. Like I mentioned, I don't really work in the same way on the weekend. So I like doing this little line here. And then let's do our running, which I totally messed up last time doing it. Let's do our running list here. So get that out of the way. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Something that I also like about this paper, even though I love Tomoe River paper, is that this one isn't as prone to smudging. I am someone who writes really fast, especially at work, right? Like with work-related things, and the smudging drives me insane. I don't usually have the time to like blot and whatever. So the fact that this is much faster at drying is just ideal. I mean, I can't like really see, so bear with me on this angle. Actually, before I even do that, I need to color in. Which, is this good enough? I don't wanna. Yeah, I guess that works. Do we dislike or dislike that sound? Okay, so now we can do our lines. Okay, so then let's go ahead and do this one. So what is your preferred method for tasks? Do you guys like doing the running to-do list, or something that I saw that I was interested in, but I think that my brain just wouldn't compute, is Musings is recently been doing the 𝚬𝚘𝚗𝚗𝚡 method, I think is what it's called, on their setups. It's the one where you put like priority, non-priority, or non-urgent. It's like 4 quadrants. And I really like the idea of that, but I just think, again, like since it's so specific, such specific tasks for clients, like maybe that would work for something else, but for the purposes of work, it doesn't really work for me very much. And in the same way that I separate, hold on. Cannot multitask. In the same way that I separate the weekend over here, separate it over here, and I completely forgot that I wanted to make, I'll just do that now. A personal. Watch me do that this time around, and I end up needing the space. Okay, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Right, and then this can be work. And this is personal. Okay, cool. So then that's that, and then I'll just go ahead and I'll do this. I'll fill out what I have pending from last week and put it in here and fill out all of my tasks. I do have a color coding system, so what I end up doing is that, let me go ahead and position this correctly. Let me actually zoom you out a little less. Or is that fine? No, zooming out a little bit. There we go. So, I have a color coding system for each client, so then I'll put the tasks, I'll put a little like circle to be able to cross it off, and I'll add their color code, and I do that as well for my 2 businesses. And then over here I'll put my tasks, again I'll color code. Oh, I forgot I have to put the line here. Oops. I'm like, something looks off. Okay, so I will, should I put the little line here? I'll just do that. I'll put my task, I'll put the color, and then I'll put the task. I'm sorry, no. That's incorrect, scratch that. I put the task here with the color of the client, and then I will use the .x \, I think the bullet journal method, to go ahead and schedule out my week. So I will do that off camera, but essentially I don't do any decorating in here at all. So then, actually I'll stick these in later. So yeah, I'll do this off camera because it is confidential, and we can go ahead and move into the next one. So then, excuse all the post-its, but I am blocking some important client information. So I'm going to be completely, well, not completely, I'm going to be taking some of this and moving it onto the next spread, but a lot of the formatting is going to change, right? Like I'm not going to have a to-do list on this one anymore. And this is not going to be like this. We're making it up as we go. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Okay. So I kind of had a like preliminary. Where'd he go? Where are you, young post-it? Here you are. Okay. So I was thinking that I can do steps, coffee, and meals plus time. So I just recently got a smartwatch again, and it's been calculating my steps. I'm not really big into like calorie counting or watching, you know, specifically things about my diet, but I am someone who experiences a lot of migraines, and so sometimes I want to be able to see if something other than stress might have triggered the migraine. So kind of keeping track of like what I eat, how much coffee I've had during the day, and now kind of like seeing how my sleep patterns work. Something that I was really struggling with keeping track on this type of journal, and I might make a video on this additional, just kind of explaining ways that you can, you know, stick to a journal like this, is having places where I don't necessarily need to come to this journal every single day. There's information, the information that I put in here is accessible by other means. And so it makes it so that there is not as much stress for me to, okay, if I don't go in today, then I'm gonna miss some information, you know? And kind of being able to remove that stress definitely is helpful. So for these lines, I am gonna use a pencil. So first one we're gonna do is steps, and I am designing some stickers. For those of you who didn't catch that in my first video, I am, you know what, let me make this easier on myself. I am opening a stationery and sticker shop, and so I am designing some stickers specifically for this. And then let's see how much coffee. We don't really need that much space for coffee. And then that'll be for meals. Okay, so this will be steps. And last week I tried to be like super fancy and use a fountain pen for my headers, and it went horribly wrong with the smudging. I almost lost it. Steps. Coffee. And I am a very intense coffee drinker. And I really can't stop because I've tried it before, and I went through a 2-week-long migraine. And for those of you who experience migraines, you know how horrible that is. And for those of you who don't experience migraines, you know, good for you. But I need to have at least 1 cup of coffee a day, and that is an addiction. Like I'm not even trying to pretend like it's not, but alas, it is what it is. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. I think I'm comfortable doing that. Oh, and then let me go ahead and breakfast, lunch, dinner. So are any of you guys plant likers, plant lovers, plant parents? Because I just recently adopted some plants, and I was never a plant person before. In fact, I would argue I had the opposite of a green thumb, whatever that is, and I've killed plenty of plants in the past. However, I came across these new plants, and I'm using an app called Greg, not sponsored, to kind of help me with watering and taking care of the plants and figuring out, you know, what's best placement and what have you. And they've been doing pretty well. And so I've gained confidence in my plant caring abilities, whether that is for the better or for the worse. And so today I went to Home Depot and bought a plant, this little prayer plant over here on the side that I had in the beginning of the video. And she's a little sickly, so I'm gonna try to bring her back to health, and I'll let you guys know. If you guys do have plants, tell me which ones you have. What's your favorite? If you've been having plants for a long time, or if you're fairly new to the hobby. If you guys ever want a plant collection video, let me know and I will be happy to do that. So let me do my habit tracker now. And for the habit tracker, I like using the Hobonichi. The Hobonichi pen so that my lines don't smudge. So let me get that. And I struggle so much with trying to figure out which habits I want to track and which ones I don't want to track, or which ones I don't need to track. And then something also that I tend to do is I tend to fall off on the weekends, because like I said, I work from home and I usually have no issues with filling this out on a day-to-day basis during the week because I'm reaching for it anyways. But during the weekend, I tend to not reach for it as much, so I forget, right? So you can see here, I didn't fill out any of my sleeping stuff on these days. But again, I have that information on my smartphone, on my smartwatch or on my phone, so I don't feel too bad about it. I can just go and do that. And aside from that, I know I did these habits, and I know I took some pain meds yesterday because I was in a lot of pain. And I brushed my hair today. And I did clean the litter box yesterday. So anyways, that's a little tidbit for you. If you are struggling with getting to it every day, maybe see about either finding ways that that information can be logged somewhere else on a day-to-day basis, or try and shift so that the things that you are tracking are things that, you know, you have access to. That's if that's something that is accessible to you, of course. So bear with my silence for a second because I cannot do these lines and also talk at the same time. Does anyone else have to take out the pencil board from time to time because it just gets in the way? Or is that just me? I think I'm going to keep these also. I did not do a morning routine any day. That is something that I'm aiming for, is doing like a good morning routine, because your girl's a hot mess. So I might change the order of these though. So let's do... I think I'm just going to do these time around. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. We can always add more if we ever want to. That's another really good thing about like Hobonichi, is that, or any of these journal systems, that they're so adaptable. You try something out one week, if you don't like it, you change it the next. It's that simple. While still giving you a format that you can work off of, right? Because that's the beauty of bullet journaling, is that it is completely customizable to you. You get to create the layout every week, every month, every so often. But some of us don't really work well with that type of system. Unfortunately, well, when I first got into the planner community, I was also a 𝙍𝚎 girl. But I really need some consistency. I love a customizable system, which is why I'm really attracted to the Traveler's Notebook system, but still need some structure, because if not, I get overwhelmed, and it's very easy for me to, you know, fall off when it comes to these things. And I am one of those people that just works better with a planning system, with routine, even if I struggle to keep up with them. Okay, so those are the habits, and then let's do the sleeping tracker. And I am by no means a calligrapher. I just know how to write cursive, and that presents itself however it presents itself, with additional letters or lack of letters thereof. Okay, so I still have no idea what I'm going to be putting down here, so I'm going to leave that blank. I had originally thought about doing a mood tracker, but I don't see myself coming in here often enough to do that. So I'm going to mull that over, and maybe I'll do like a weekly recap of some sort. I think that might be nice. Do like a weekly recap, maybe. We'll see. Anyways, let's decorate this baby. I don't tend to decorate this one as much as my media journal, but I still want to decorate it. Some fun little stickers. It is possibly gonna snow where I live on Thursday, so there's that. No, I do not like that there. I'll add a snow-related sticker if that does happen. Oh, don't like that there either. Today has been such a weird day. Well, the past 2 days have been weird, in truth. Better. Yeah, the last couple of days have been a little odd. I decided that I wanted to completely redo my entire room. Well, my entire apartment, in truth. And so I spent pretty much all of Saturday and today doing that. And so I'm exhausted. Oh, I haven't used one of these in a while. Let's use the bluebird. Where can we put you? Let's just put you down here. Do I want to put you down there? Yeah. No, I don't want to put you down there. No, I don't. I don't want to put you down there. Maybe I'll use him in my media journal. Is there any washi I want to use? Let's use some of these. We're going for a purple look, so. And these are just like Avery stickers that I like highlighted. We'll use like the Tombow marker to fill out. I really enjoy using them to kind of go off the page. Don't ask me why, but I do. Do I have any? Do I want to use this one? Let's see. I'm guessing I'm in a purple mood. And you'll notice I'm not really particularly gentle when it comes to the Hobonichi. I like the kind of what would you call that? Like rugged look, I guess. Do I have anything in here that I want to use? Is that overkill? Should I add that somewhere else? No such thing as overkill. I am a maximalist after all. In every sense of the word. I do think I'll keep that there though. Like I said, I don't really like over decorating this one. I do go ham in my media journal though. That is the place for me. Okay, so then let's place you over here. And I think that's that. I don't think I'm gonna label this just yet. I'm gonna mull it over a little more and figure out if I want to do a weekly reflection there or not. If I come up with something else though, I'll fill you in during the rest of the week. Okay, yeah, I think I'll do that. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me in setting up these two layouts for my planner related journals. Feel free to leave any feedback below. All of the links for anything that I talked about during this video will be linked in the description. And I will catch you in the next one. Bye everybody.